urgent, Raiders fan. Look at what just happened. Nobody saw this coming, huh? But first, make sure to subscribe to the channel because we bring you daily videos with the latest your team news. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. 5 veteran CB options Raiders should pursue to replace Jack Jones. Las Vegas needs help in the secondary after releasing their starting cornerback. The Las Vegas Raiders fired head coach Antonio Pierce this offseason, which meant that several of the players he brought in during his tenure were destined to be gone as well. New head coach Pete Carroll and general manager John Spytek immediately began constructing the roster in their image, and earlier this week we learned that cornerback Jack Jones did not fit into the frame. Spytek also let starting cornerback Nate Hobbs leave in free agency, which means the Raiders have a giant hole at the position. While they may be able to resolve part of their secondary issues with the number 6 pick in the NFL draft, Las Vegas will likely need to employ the help of a veteran player as well. Here are 5 free agents that the Raiders could sign to mitigate the loss of Jack Jones. 5 veteran CBs the Raiders should pursue to replace Jack Jones. James Bradberry, the Philadelphia Eagles, saw several young cornerbacks emerge on their roster last year, which made Bradberry expendable after he missed the entire 2024 season due to injury. Although he showed signs of slowing down the year prior, he is not that far removed from a second-team All-Pro honor in 2022. Bradberry is still a physical, long-armed corner who can contribute at a high level for an NFL team, but at the very least, he would provide an experienced veteran presence that the Raiders' cornerback room currently lacks. 2. Rasul Douglas. Las Vegas famously cut Douglas a month before his breakout season in 2021, and they have a chance to right that wrong by signing and keeping him this offseason. He had a down year last season for the Buffalo Bills, but in the previous 3 years he had 14 interceptions and 40 passes defended, in addition to over 200 tackles. With his large frame and ball skills, it's a wonder why Pete Carroll hasn't added him to the roster already. 3. C.J. Henderson. Henderson was once a top 10 pick in the NFL draft, and despite falling on hard times during his career, talent like that does not just go away. He has proven that he is a willing tackler and can make plays on the ball, so what he needs is a coach like defensive coordinator Patrick Graham to fine-tune his technique. With all the physical traits and athleticism necessary to be a top-flight cornerback, Henderson is worth a flyer for Las Vegas. 4. Michael Davis. At no point in his career has Davis been a shutdown corner, but he could provide value for the Raiders. As a rotational piece, if they can land a top prospect in the draft, he just spent last season with the Commanders playing under Carroll's descendant Dan Quinn, which means he should be familiar with the general concepts of the system. With long arms and a low price tag, he should be a target for Las Vegas. 5. Asante Samuel Jr. Raider Nation is familiar with Samuel Jr., as he spent the last 4 seasons with the Los Angeles Chargers. Once considered a high-end outside cornerback, his stock has fallen quite a bit after being injured for most of last year. Though his arms are short for an outside player by Carroll's standards, he is probably the most talented player on this list. He also may be the most expensive option, but the Raiders should entertain signing him if they strike out in the draft. Pausing this news just to say that if you want YouTube to keep recommending the latest Raider Nation news to you, it's very important that you leave a like on this video. Thanks. Now let's get back to the news. Could Jalen Ramsey be a trade fit? Miami reportedly exploring trading standout cornerback 9 days before the start of the NFL draft, and add another veteran who could be on the trade market before or during the selection process. Tuesday morning, NFL media reported that the Miami Dolphins will explore trading perennial Pro Bowl cornerback Jalen Ramsey. It would not be a surprise if the Las Vegas Raiders would be interested in acquiring Ramsey. The Raiders reportedly had interest in signing a top free agent, such as Byron Murphy. He resigned with Minnesota Vikings for big dollars, and they remain thin at the position. Las Vegas recently waived starter Jack Jones and currently have newly signed Eric Stokes, Decamarion Richardson, and Jacorian Bennett as their outside cornerbacks. Ramsey is a Pete Carroll-type cornerback as he stands at 61 and weighs 209. He also has 33 from 38-inch arms, so he has the size Carroll covets. Ramsey has a big contract, but the Raiders have the salary cap room to make it fit. Ramsey turns 31 in October and has already been traded twice, so the Dolphins are poised, make it that all 3 of Ramsey's teams have decided to trade him. The 2024 season broke a 7-year streak in which Ramsey made the Pro Bowl. He has been a 3-time first-team All-Pro, the last such honor coming in 2021. Ramsey has 24 career interceptions, and he had 2 in 2024. He has dealt with injuries in multiple seasons, but he did play all 17 games for the Dolphins last season. Raiders surprisingly already looking at replacements for promising rookie. The new regime in Las Vegas is doing things their way. The Las Vegas Raiders desperately needed change this year after the lackluster campaign they put together under Antonio Pierce last season. Owner Mark Davis recognized this, and he employed the talents of head coach Pete Carroll and general manager John Spytek to get the job done. However, in their first offseason at the helm, they were relatively inactive during free agency. They did trade for quarterback Geno Smith and fork out a ton of cash to extend star defensive end Max Crosby, but they let several defensive starters leave and did not spend more than $8 million per year on a free agent. By doing so, Carroll and Spytek have proven that they are doing things their way. Gone are the days of overpaying players on the open market, and no longer will the team settle for good enough. The new regime had predicated itself on competition, and not even the team's best players are immune to this. Raiders surprisingly already looking at replacements for promising rookie last season. DJ Glaze was a pleasant surprise for the Raiders, earning a starting role at right tackle after being drafted in the 3rd round. However, despite his above-average play, his job is far from safe ahead of the NFL draft. I wouldn't say it's a great draft for offensive linemen, Tafur wrote. But there did seem to be a gleam in general manager John Spytek's eye when he talked about drafting a right tackle to compete with DJ Glaze. Tafur brought up several players that Spytek may have an eye on, like Oregon's Josh Connerly Jr., Purdue's Marcus Mbao, William Mary's Charles Grant, or Texas' Cameron Williams. While none of these players are necessarily first-round talents, as Glaze demonstrated last season, every player on the roster should be given a fair chance to compete. There is a chance, too, that the Raiders select either Missouri's Armand Membou or LSU's Will Campbell at number 6. Both of these players are expected to be day-on starters at offensive tackle, which would threaten Glaze's livelihood. Obviously, Glaze was far from a top-tier offensive tackle last season, so if an upgrade is available, the team should almost always take it. But that equation becomes a bit more complicated when a player is so young and has more potential to tap into. At the end of the day, this team will be constructed in the way that Spytek and Carroll see fit, and the best player will play at each position. But after earning a starting role last offseason, it's hard not to feel for Glaze if they seek out a replacement so early in his NFL career. Raiders took Ashton Jeanty, other NFL prospects, to Topgolf. During team visit, NFL fans made the connection to the Commanders taking Jaden Daniels to Topgolf last year. The Las Vegas Raiders seem to be the top contender to draft Boise State standout running back Ashton Jeanty next week, and it sounds like they're really trying to win him over. Jeanty appeared on the Pat McAfee Show on Tuesday and revealed that the Raiders took him and quite a few other NFL prospects to Topgolf for their top 30 visit. This visit reminded NFL fans of the Washington Commanders taking quarterback Jaden Daniels to Topgolf last year. It was rumored Daniels didn't enjoy his visit, but he clarified after he was drafted that he liked going to the popular golf center. It sounds like Jeanty had a good time too, despite admitting he isn't the best at golf. He was joined by Michigan's Mason Graham, LSU's Will Campbell, Ole Miss quarterback Jackson Dart, Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers, Ohio State quarterback Will Howard, and Michigan's Josiah Stewart at Topgolf. Jeanty is a candidate to be selected with the Raiders pick at number 6 at next week's NFL Draft. It's been predicted by multiple NFL analysts, including Sports Illustrated's Daniel Flick, that Jeanty will become a Raider. Las Vegas general manager John Spytek even spoke about the pressure he's had on him to draft Jeanty, most notably from his son Jack, who said he would find a new family if the Raiders don't lock down the standout running back. And now, Raiders fan, I want to hear from you. What's your opinion on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I don't know if you know this, but your opinion matters a lot for Raiders. I'll be back any moment with more Raider Nation news.